I just wanted to apologize to the family.
Charged pursuant to a warrant with first-degree felony murder.
If I was in your shoes, I probably wouldn't forgive myself.
Please sentence the defendant to the maximum sentence.
The man charged with the random murder of a girl appeared before a judge. Investigators discovered Rose Diojuste on July 4th. The accused didn't speak during the court session today.
Can you tell me your name? Okay. Does anyone have his ID on there, or?
28-year-old Jerry Dorisme, dressed in a suicide prevention smock, remained silent and stared blankly, barely moving as the judge read the charges against him. He is in jail, accused of stabbing and killing Rose Diojuste at the Palmetto at Lakeside Apartments. She was found in a closet under a stairwell.
Charged pursuant to a warrant with first-degree felony murder.
Investigators have surveillance footage showing Jerry Dorisme buying a knife just minutes before he allegedly followed Rose Diojuste into the apartment complex. We also discovered more about a previous incident with deputies in June. Investigators reported that someone called 911 because Dorisme was seen walking with a knife in front of a daycare in Pine Hills. When confronted, he rambled about being chased by a woman named Kat and not wanting to talk to Russians. Deputies say Dorisme punched them, but they managed to subdue him and had him involuntarily committed to a mental health facility under the Baker Act. The sheriff's office sent criminal charges to the state attorney's office for that case, but prosecutors did not file them until after Rose's murder. Now, Dorisme is being held in jail without bond for the murder and battery of a law enforcement officer. 19-year-old Christian Dix admitted to killing a bicyclist and robbing 2 Albuquerque gas stations, all within an hour. A judge sentenced him to nearly 3 decades in prison. A new police video shows the night he was arrested and what he said to officers.
Stop, police! Stop!
That's Christian Dix running away from officers last August. Albuquerque police caught up with the 19-year-old in an open field on the west side near Paradise and Eagle Ranch. Officers say Dix led them on a short chase before abandoning his black Mazda.
Do not move! Do you understand me? Yes, sir.
Once in custody, Dix questioned why the police were after him.
Oh, I'm wondering, what am I being arrested for? Because I was never...
So all that stuff will be explained to you once the detectives get here.
In front of District Court Judge Charles Brown, the 19-year-old admitted he knew exactly why the police wanted to arrest him that night nearly 7 months ago.
You won't be able to withdraw from this plea of training. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Dix pleaded guilty to murder and 2 counts of armed robbery from that deadly night in August. It began when Dix shot Stephanie Martinez as she was riding her bike near I-40 and San Mateo. Her father addressed the court.
I don't know if he realizes what he did. For whatever reason, God only knows, I don't know.
Immediately after, he robbed 2 different gas stations in the area at gunpoint before the police caught up with him.
I have one at gunpoint.
Get on the ground! On your stomach, right now!
Dix told the police he was poor and living on the streets but didn't provide any explanation for why he killed Martinez. As part of the agreement, Judge Charles Brown sentenced Dix to 26 years in prison. Closer to home, prosecutors say Jorge Britton was drunk and, at one point, driving over 150 miles an hour when he caused a fiery crash on I-4, killing 2 people. The wreck happened over a year ago. A Tampa jury convicted Britton last April, and he finally learned his sentence. 40 years in prison, followed by 20 years of probation. Britton apologized to the victims' families, but the judge saw through his apology. He's headed to prison, and he found out for how long.
If I was in your shoes, I probably wouldn't forgive myself.
At his sentencing, Britton apologized to the victims' families for the lifetime of pain he's caused them.
I can never understand the true horror and unimaginable pain I have inflicted for my actions. I can only imagine the thoughts of receiving the news of such loss.
In April, Britton was convicted of driving drunk and causing a deadly crash that killed 2 people.
The jury finds as follows as to count 1. Defendant is guilty of driving under the influence of medicine.
In the early morning hours of December 15, 2021, Britton was drunk and behind the wheel when he caused a deadly crash on Interstate 4 that killed Douglas K. Jr., the driver of a Toyota Camry, and his passenger, Jason Roshula.
Man, we're gonna help you, okay?
The two women in Britton's sports car were sharing the passenger seat of his Audi R8 convertible. They were not buckled in and suffered major injuries. Both remembered very little about the crash, except for one thing.
I don't remember the speed, but I do know he was going fast.
Jason's sister, Beth, had biting words for the man who stole so much from them. Her statement was read by a victim advocate.
Victim advocate.
I cannot express the amount of heartache you have caused our families. You, in one night, destroyed our lives forever.
Arguing for a lighter sentence, Britton's attorney told the court that his client has no criminal history, was recently diagnosed with PTSD, and had suffered abuse as a child. He also blamed Hollywood for glorifying fast cars and racing.
Type of behavior is encouraged, it's glorified, it's made heroic to drive like that, to act like that on the highways.
However, prosecutors reminded the court that Britton himself was to blame. The judge had the final word.
And you got on that stand and you basically lied, saying that you didn't go over 70-something miles an hour at that time, that you thought a semi crashed into it. There's no evidence of any semi causing any accident. You were trying to deflect the blame. You didn't take responsibility for a single second the entire time up until you sat down there in front of me today, knowing that today's the day of reckoning.
The judge sentenced him to 40 years in prison. Britton didn't show much reaction. He is headed to jail. The repeat drunk driver who struck and killed a pregnant woman in Anaheim is headed to prison.
I want you to see the face of my wife in her.
Speaking directly to the woman who killed his wife, the widowed husband demanded that the convict look directly at his daughter.
And I want you to see her face every single day. I want you to share the pain that I have.
Courtney Fritz Pandolfi, under the influence of a drug cocktail including cocaine and methamphetamine, ran her Jeep into Dylann Rose's parents, killing Yesenia Alvarez Aguilar. At Pandolfi's sentencing in Orange County Superior Court, friends and family, many wearing t-shirts bearing Yesenia's image, shared their pain.
You had no right to take her away from us. Our family has to commute every single day past that crime scene.
You deserve waking up in hell. I can't forgive you because it isn't your first offense.
It's the convict's 5th DUI since 2008. This time, the judge gave Pandolfi the maximum sentence of 15 years to life in prison.
We need our stricter laws and to maybe take away the ability for these early parole administrations and hearings to take place.
Though tearful, Pandolfi apologized for her actions.
This is not a day that goes by where I do not think about what I did.
Yesenia won't get the chance to hold the baby she prayed for, or to accept the cosmetology license she worked so hard for. A daughter, sister, cousin, mother, and wife were taken suddenly. Her surviving husband hopes to use his tragedy to help other DUI victims.
I want to be that voice because I got something good out of this tragedy. I'm blessed for a beautiful daughter.
Little Dylann Rose will celebrate her 4th birthday on the same day her mother lost her life. The suspect accused of trying to grab a child at a Miami CVS appeared before a judge. The 26-year-old Nicholas Metternich Sterneman was in bond court, where the state requested he be held in jail without bond until trial. The judge granted that request, and also ordered Sterneman to stay away from the victim. Sterneman is currently facing charges of kidnapping, aggravated child abuse, and battery. The man accused of killing a mother and her child in a drunk driving crash could spend the rest of his life in prison. A judge sentenced Daniel Mejia to 15 years to life, plus an additional 7 years in prison. A jury convicted Mejia of second-degree murder and other charges earlier this year for the 2017 incident. Investigators say Mejia was driving drunk on Highway 99 when his vehicle slammed into a Jeep stopped in the center median near Taft Highway. Axel Rodriguez was killed, and his mother, Carla Mendoza, died the next day. The additional 7 years on Mejia's sentence are for the injuries sustained by Axel's sister. Prosecutor Michelle Domino wanted Mejia to be sentenced to 30 years for both deaths instead of just 15.
The jury found both counts of second-degree murder guilty, and I felt that they should each be valued and sentenced accordingly.
Mejia will have to serve at least 22 years in prison before he's eligible for parole. A A Bakersfield man will spend the rest of his life behind bars for his role in a deadly crash in 2014. Dontrell Collins was sentenced today for killing 2 women after speeding down Rosedale Highway and crashing into the back of their car while drunk. The car caught fire and the women were killed. In November, Collins was found guilty on 8 counts, including 2 for second-degree murder. This is a case involving a man charged with second-degree murder in a DUI crash. Alex Rubio has been sentenced to 15 years to life. The sentence was handed down a little before 9:30 this morning for Rubio's role in the 2014 car accident that killed Princess Almani d'Ivoire. Rubio was driving at speeds over 100 miles an hour at the time of the collision, with a blood alcohol level nearly twice the legal limit. Throughout most of the court proceedings, Rubio had a blank stare, looking towards the family section 3 times during the nearly hour-long session. He only became emotional when details of the trial and the accident were recalled, and when letters from friends and family were brought up by the judge. He became visibly distraught upon hearing his sentence of 15 years to life. After the court proceedings, Princess Almani d'Ivoire's father spoke, mentioning that although there is now closure, the family still hasn't gotten over what happened 2 years ago. During the court proceedings, the father also spoke for a few minutes, sharing instances when the family still broke down over the incident from 2 years ago.
The conviction of Alex Rubio will never lessen the grief we feel over the loss of our daughter, but we find some comfort.
In a heart-wrenching sentencing for the death of Levi Akinaki, a judge gave Eileen Alderette the maximum sentence of 26 to 65 years in prison. The 25-year-old pled guilty to second-degree murder and 2 DUI charges. She was the driver in a deadly crash. Police say she was high on marijuana, driving over 100 miles an hour, and running red lights when she hit the car carrying Levi and his parents. Emotional doesn't begin to explain what happened inside the courtroom. The convicted murderer wept the entire time, while Levi's family, including his only brother, made a powerful plea for justice. Levi Akinaki.
Every time I think about it, I just can't control myself.
At just 12 years old, Joey Akinaki stood before a judge, asking for the maximum sentence for the woman who killed his little brother in a DUI crash.
What she did was not right at all. Like my mom said, the best birthday present that my brother could get.
Levi Akinaki would have turned 9. His family is asking for justice for all the years they won't be able to celebrate his birthday with him.
My entire life was flipped upside down and ruined by her decision to drive.
Her family can at least still visit her. My baby boy was 8.
I'm so sorry.
On more than one occasion, the driver, Eileen Alderette, apologized to Levi's family while they were speaking before the court.
We'll say, forgive and forget. We choose not to forgive her. We choose to forget her.
Levi's family gasped as a video played, showing Alderette speeding through a red light before the crash. Her loud sobs could be heard throughout the entire 90-minute sentencing.
I'm so sorry for the family I've hurt.
Prosecutors say it's too late for apologies.
We're done trying to teach you the error of your ways, and now you're going to be punished. And if education didn't work, perhaps the fear of God will.
Outside the courtroom, Levi's parents told us that this Thanksgiving they would keep their tradition of cutting a cake for Levi's birthday, but this time he wouldn't be there.
See her wherever she may end up. We visit our son at Palm Mortuary.
Alderette's family was also present in the courtroom. They did not speak before the judge and appeared visibly angry as they left, requiring an escort out. Meanwhile, Alderette will be 51 years old when she's eligible for parole. Deborah Lane Meyer was in the car with her husband, 59-year-old Bernard Lane Meyer.
Please, Your Honor, spare my children and my family and me any more pain. Please sentence the defendant to the maximum sentence.
When they crashed into along I-96 near Hudsonville back in May.
I remember opening my eyes and seeing Bernie's head, covered in blood, lying on my shoulder. His eyes were open, but he was dead.
She says her memory from that day is foggy, but she recalls being taken to the hospital.
I remember the staff at the hospital pressing my head together, shooting needle after needle in my head, while 25 staples were pounded into my head. It hurt like nothing I have ever felt before.
As she spoke, she looked at the man responsible, 47-year-old Richard Rich. Rich started crying when he saw pictures of the victim. Lane Meyer was a father and grandfather who had retired just 2 months before the crash.
I just wanted to apologize to the family. I'm so sorry. I know it doesn't help, it never will.
He admitted he had been drinking and blew almost twice the legal limit.
I hope that it serves a message to every drunk driver out there that somebody's life could be impacted.
Jacob Williams was back in a Valencia County courtroom wearing an orange jumpsuit after causing his second deadly drunk driving crash. In January 2014, he crashed into Daniel Sanchez's motorcycle, killing Sanchez and seriously injuring Sanchez's daughter, who was riding with him. He was convicted in another fatal DUI crash. Daniel Sanchez's brother William was the district court judge at the time and gave Williams the maximum sentence of 6 years in prison. Sanchez asked this judge to do the same.
Anything less than the maximum sentence is hardly acceptable by our family.
The victim in the first deadly crash told the judge that she lost her friend and the use of her legs.
It is not an accident when you deliberately get behind the wheel under the influence.
The judge agreed and gave Williams the maximum sentence of 17 years. The judge didn't believe Williams learned his lesson before, but he sincerely hoped he did this time. When Williams gets out of prison, he will then spend 5 more years on supervised probation. Daniel Sanchez's widow was not in court, but had someone read a statement on her behalf. She is now pushing for tougher drunk driving laws.
Something bad happens and you're supposed to learn something from it.
In late 2019, a Tampa grandmother was accused of doing the unthinkable. Prosecutors say Helen Mention drove drunk and crashed with her grandchild on her lap. The baby died, and now, 3 years later, Mention is headed to prison. Helen Mention has been out on bond since last March. The 52-year-old is accused of driving drunk and killing her grandchild. So far, she has passed on a plea deal.
It was 15 years, followed by 2 years of community control, followed by 3 years of drug offender probation.
But 10 months later, there was a change of heart. Mentioned is now ready to plead guilty and skip a jury trial.
What is your plea?
Guilty.
Tampa Judge Barbara Twain Thomas asked questions.
There's no plea agreement.
There's not a plea agreement.
There are no negotiated sanctions that will apply.
That is correct, Your Honor.
She's exclusively at the discretion of the court.
Yes, Your Honor.
But before the judge handed down her sentence, Mention's family support flooded the courtroom. Later, her sister Flora spoke, telling the court that her older sister is haunted every day by what happened.
She can't bring her back. But we want her to be able to forgive herself, because she loved that baby.
In October 2019, reports show Mentioned was driving drunk when she hit a guardrail near the westbound entrance of Interstate 4. The baby's mother was left heartbroken and in tears. Baby Harlem never had a chance at life, and sadly, her grandmother is to blame. Helen Mentioned was just sentenced to 10 years in prison, followed by 4 years of probation. On July 22, 2016, in Delta, Ohio, Sierra Jan disappeared while riding her bike home. 2 days later, she was discovered dead, and James Worley was identified as the culprit. No matter how much a wrongdoer tries to hide it, sin can't be completely erased. There are always traces left behind.
Placard E is showing additional names. There's some on the upright stalk, and then more right directly beneath the upright stalk, and they're here on this leaf, and then you can see some up here on the other stalk.
Showing you exhibit 46 now.
Okay. That's a close-up of that similar area, so that's the upright portion of the stalk, and you can see the reddish brown stain right there.
Showing you exhibit 47.
This is the same area, the same stalks, and additional staining.
Then I'm showing you exhibit 48.
This is evidence item number 2, and this is that green, neon green sock that I talked about earlier.
Okay, I'm showing you exhibit 49, which had previously been omitted. Describe the jury what that is.
That's a close-up of the sock, and if you can see Looks like dirt towards the toe. It's actually a reddish brown staining. And when we used our chemical testing at the scene, it did test presumptively positive.
Showing you exhibit 50.
Okay, placard 3, you can see this is actually in the same path as item number 2. It was about 35 feet south of the sock, and it's identifying a pair of sunglasses.
Showing you there exhibit 51.
Okay, so if I'll point to the screen. You can see the sunglasses right there, and they're beneath a broken stalk.
Showing you exhibit 52.
I removed the sunglasses from underneath the stalk to get a better picture of them, but you can see they're consistent with a men's sunglass style.
Showing you exhibit 53.
And there's a close-up of the sunglasses once they're removed from the cornfield.
And is that on the envelope, ma'am?
Yes, it's a number 3, just showing that's the item of evidence.
Showing you exhibit 54, ma'am.
Okay, these were the pattern impressions. They were located right next to the corn stalks on the dirt. There's not a lot of detail. They're very shallow, so they weren't cast and collected. We just used photography to take a picture of them.
Showing you exhibit 55.
And this is the same with number 5 also. You can see some detail towards the right hand of the photograph, but not much to collect.
So that's a pattern impression.
A pattern impression, yeah.
Showing you exhibit 56, ma'am.
This is the bicycle. This is the photograph of the bicycle when it was in the corn, so it was propped up between 2 stalks of corn. The kickstand was also down on it.
And what item evidence number did you get?
That is evidence number 6.
Showing you item exhibit 57, which was previously admitted.
This is when we removed the bicycle from the corn, just to better and more efficiently document the bike to look for any evidence on the bicycle. This is a living area of the residence. That was just showing that there were more boxes of those adult diapers.
Are they essentially being used as apparently a table?
Yeah, it looks like it, yes.
Exhibit 98, ma'am.
Okay, this is the bedroom located off of the living room of the residence. You can see the bed, clothing in the photograph, but you can also see a packaging of the adult diapers, and you can tell that they're a Prevail brand.
And exhibit 99.
Okay, this is the same bedroom, and I'm standing near the bed for this photograph. You can see the diapers there in the right-hand corner again.
Showing you what is exhibit 100.
This is me standing in the same bedroom near the bed again, just turning towards the entry door. You can see the entertainment stand. There's 2 packages of the Prevail adult diapers in the stand. And then on top of the entertainment stand on the right-hand corner, there is a wallet, and it has the identification card for James Worley in it.
Did you believe this was the defendant's bedroom, ma'am?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as exhibit 101.
This bedroom is located in the residence off of the kitchen. You can see another packaging of the adult diapers.
Okay. At this point, ma'am, was the defendant's elderly mother present when you were in the residence?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was this her bedroom?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as exhibit 102, ma'am?
This is her bedroom still, the mother's bedroom. You can see more adult diapers located down the dresser. And then her closet is to the left-hand side of the photograph.
And showing you respect to the closet, exhibit 103.
And you can see 2 more packaging of the Prevail diapers. You can see them on the lower bottom of the photograph. They're sticking out another packaging. And then near my hand to the left, there's more diapers there.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as exhibit 104.
This is the washer. This is located in the laundry room of the residence. The laundry room was located right off the kitchen area. I examined the contents of the wash machine.
Okay. Showing you, ma'am, what things that showing you to do at 105.
This is a size XL Dickies gray t-shirt. This is found in the washer. It's still wet, and if I can point out here, on the left sleeve, right here, there was a little debris of like a hay material. I collected it right away. I don't have any other photos to document it. I didn't want to lose it in the laundry room, so I collected it right off the t-shirt.
Okay, we have 106.
This is a close-up of that t-shirt, and it was identified with I-1, so that was the first piece of clothing on the inventory for the residents.
And that's the same one you took out of the washer there?
That's correct.
Okay, showing you 107.
These are a pair of black denim jeans that were located in what I believe to be James Worley's bedroom. They're identified with I-7.
And picture 108, ma'am.
This is a close-up photo of the jeans. You can tell that there's some dirt on the exterior portion of the jeans. I was just photographing that.
And 109.
And then you can see that the dirt extended all the way down to the ankle area of the jeans.
The defendant's awful response when the family's pain is described shows they feel no guilt at all.
She always had a way of expressing herself and telling these never-ending stories. I would give anything to hear another story or have another sleepover. I met my husband, and he brought two amazing boys into my life. Little did I know that Sierra and my oldest son, Nick, who was a month older than her, would become best friends. She traveled on most all of our family vacations, and I still just couldn't get enough time with her. She met her true love, Josh, at the tender age of 7 when Nick introduced his two best friends to each other. They soon became the three amigos and shared a bond that was so amazing. Because of a selfish act by a repeat offender, we will not hear her infectious laugh. We will not have those special family vacations. We will not see her walk down the aisle or have babies of her own. Her dreams of studying abroad and traveling the world will never come true because of this repeat offender. We had to celebrate Sierra's 21st birthday as a group without her here on Earth. The holidays are more quiet and somber and will never be the same. We light a candle to remember her spirit, but the light of that candle has nothing on Sierra. She would light up a room just by smiling. We have all this pain and loss because of a selfish person who thought he would get away with it. I quote the defendant on an audio recording saying, "The proof is in the pudding." He's absolutely right. I'm so thankful that the jurors were able to see through his lies and clearly see the proof in the pudding. I will never forgive James Worley for what he did. This heartless individual was sick enough to want to watch the life and the light drain out of Sierra. He thought he had the power to take her light from us, but he was mistaken. Her light can never be dimmed. Her light shines brighter today than it ever has before. Sierra has done more good and positively touched more people's lives in her short 20 years on Earth than most people do in their entire life. Not only did he take Sierra away from us, but he took away our family as we knew it. I have to watch the pain in my sister's eyes and the heartbreak of losing her firstborn child. I have to watch my niece not be able to have sleepovers because of her fear of being away from home. I have to watch the pain and despair in my parents as they struggle to understand how this could happen in the town they both grew up in and felt safe in. I have to try to explain to my young daughters why Sierra won't be coming home and that the boogeyman really does exist. I watch as my boys try to find their way in life while questioning everything because how could this happen to her? The pain is excruciating and the depth of emptiness we feel is unexplainable. However, I want him to know this. It may seem that he has broken us, but we as a family are stronger than he thinks. And because we were lucky enough to have had Sierra's love, we're unbreakable. James Worley has long demanded that his human rights should be respected, all the while knowing that he had so callously dismissed Sierra's right to live. His jail records prove that he's a repeat offender and has no respect for authority. His demeanor in court proves that he has no remorse for what he did to Sierra, much less to all of those who loved and knew her. Our family has to spend the rest of our lives with the reality that Sierra will never be coming home, all because the heartless, cold-blooded decisions of James Worley. Let James spend the rest of his life paying for these decisions. Thank you.
In this case, the court finds the defendant was found guilty of several charges, but those charges have merged into the following offenses: count 6, kidnapping, in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2905.01b2, a felony of the first degree; count 7, felonious assault, in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2903.11a2, a felony of the second degree; count 14, possession of criminal tools, in violation of section 2923.24a, a felony of the fifth degree; tampering with evidence in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2921.12a1, a felony of the third degree; and count 19, having weapons while under disability, in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2923.13a2, a felony of the third degree. The court finds the following factors making the offense more serious are relevant to the court's determination under Revised Code section 2929.12b. The victim of the offense suffered serious physical, psychological, or economic harm as a result of the offense. The court finds no factors making the offense less serious on section 2929.12c. The court finds the following factors indicate the defendant is more likely to commit future crimes, which are relevant to the court's determination under Revised Code section 2929.12d. The offender previously has a history of criminal convictions, and the offender clearly has not been rehabilitated to a satisfactory degree and has not responded favorably to sanctions imposed. The court finds the following factors relevant to future crimes. Unlikely he did not have a juvenile record. The court finds, after considering these factors, that a prison term is consistent with the purposes and principles of sentencing in Revised Code 2929.11, and the defendant is not amenable to any available community control sanction. The court further finds community control sanctions, or a combination of community control sanctions, would not adequately punish the defendant nor protect the public from future crime because of the applicable factors under 2929.12, and indicate a greater likelihood of recidivism, which greatly outweigh the applicable factors, indicating a lesser likelihood of recidivism. The court further finds that a combination of community control sanctions would demean the seriousness of the defendant's conduct and its impact on the victim, because one of the more of the factors indicate the conduct was more serious than conduct normally constituting the offense, and that those factors outweigh any applicable factors indicating the conduct was less serious. The court finds that a sentence of imprisonment is commensurate with the seriousness of the defendant's conduct, and that a prison sentence does not place unnecessary burden on state or local government resources. The court therefore sentences the defendant as follows. On count 6, kidnapping in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2905.01b2, a felony of the first degree, 11 years. On count 7, felonious assault in violation of Revised Code section 2903.11a2, a felony of the second degree, 8 years. In count 14, possession of criminal tools in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2923.24a, a felony of the 5th degree, 11 months. On count 17, tampering with evidence in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2921.12a1, a felony of the 3rd degree, 36 months. On count 19, having weapons while under disability in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2923.13a2, a felony of 3rd degree, 36 months. These sentences are to be served at the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. The court has further decided the defendant shall serve the prison terms consecutively pursuant to the requirements of Ohio Revised Code section 2929.14c4 because the court finds a consecutive service is necessary to protect the public from future crime and to punish the offender, and that a consecutive sentence is not disproportionate to the seriousness of the offender's conduct and the danger he proposes to the public. The court further finds at least 2 of the multiple offenses were committed as part of one or more courses of conduct, and that the harm caused by these offenses was so greater than usual that no single prison term for any of the offenses committed as part of this course of conduct adequately reflects the seriousness of the offender's conduct. And the offender's history of criminal conduct demonstrates consecutive sentences are necessary to protect the public from future crime by the other. As part of the sentence, although this will never occur, it's still required. As part of the sentence, the defendant is advised upon completion of a prison term, the defendant would be subject to such further mandatory period of supervision under post-release control for mandatory 5 years as authorized by law. The parole authority may increase or reduce restrictions imposed by the parole board. In the event the defendant violates the terms of post-release control, the parole board may return the offender to prison for a maximum period of time for 9 months for each violation, but the total addition of prison time imposed by the parole board when post-release control will not exceed 1/2 of the defendant's stated prison term. If the defendant is convicted of a felony while under post-release control, the court having jurisdiction over the new felony may return the defendant to prison, in this case for additional period of time as authorized by law. And any prison term served will be served consecutively with any extension of time in this case. All of those sentences, whether from the parole board for post-release control, from new court, are deemed to be part of the sentences in this case. Additionally, the defendant will pay the costs of prosecution in this matter. The court typically concludes this case by having a few comments. I have been told by my brethren who handle these cases that is inappropriate here. Suffice it to say, Mr. Worley, I think you would have been well advised to listen to your attorneys before you made your statement. I thought your attorneys did an excellent job in handling your defense. And one further comment, Mr. Worley, if I thought there was a snowball's chance in hell that you were innocent, you'd be looking at life. Court's in recess.
On March 18, 2015 in Colorado, Michelle Wilkins, who was 7 months pregnant, was shot while trying to get baby clothes. She didn't know Dynel Lane was waiting to attack her like a predator. Lane brutally assaulted her. Wilkins survived, but her unborn child, Aurora, did not. It's painful to see a woman cry. Watch the entire video. Once you know what she did, your sympathy will turn into anger.
Then what happened?
After she stopped moving, I got scared. And I started thinking about the baby. But it wasn't long after that my husband came home.
What were you thinking about with the baby?
I thought I killed her. I was like, I killed this woman. They always tell you not to do things by yourself on Craigslist, but I didn't. It was a pregnant woman. I didn't think anything of it.
Okay, so what happened once she was unconscious before your husband got home?
It was just a momentary reaction. I was thinking that, I was like, oh my God, I thought I killed her, and I didn't want the baby to die too.
What happened?
We know it's hard.
I'm not this kind of person. I don't do stuff like this. Like, I didn't know what to do.
We're not judging you, Dynel.
I know. I did myself. else. But usually when a situation like that, like I reacted. What happened? I can't even say it.
What happened to the baby?
She stopped moving. When she stopped moving, I just started thinking I didn't want the baby to die too, so I got the knife that she had. And I tried to get the baby out.
A 911 call came in. The dispatcher was stunned, unable to believe that such a thing could happen.
911, address of your emergency.
1620.
1620 what? I can't understand the street. Green place. Green like the color?
Yeah.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
407-401.
What's the phone? Tell me. Okay, tell me what happened.
She cut me.
Who cut you?
I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Hang on. Hold on.
Please. I'm downstairs.
Okay, who cut you?
This girl I was wanting to cut me like that.
Where did she cut you at?
I'm pregnant. She got me on my stomach. I'm afraid.
She cut you in your stomach?
I'm pregnant.
What is the suspect's name?
I don't remember.
What's your name?
Michelle.
Hang on, okay? I'm gonna take this. She is. I know you need to stay on the phone with me, okay? I'm getting everybody to you, okay? I know you stay with me, okay? I got everybody coming to help you. You stay on the phone, don't hang up. 2102, 2121 to 1620 Green Plains, 1620 Green Plains for a stabbing. That page, Lincoln 13, 1443. I can't understand. What is your name, okay? You're going to stay on the phone with me? Michelle? Michelle, I need you to can you grab a towel or anything you can get in your hand and put it on your wound and press? How far along are you?
7 months.
7 months? Okay. Are you alone in the house?
No.
You stay with me. Don't go to sleep. You stay with me. You're downstairs in the basement? And are you alone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I left the door.
Thank you. Michelle, don't you go to sleep, okay? You stay on the phone with me. Can you tell me, did she have any other weapons besides the knife?
She broke the glass.
She broke a glass? Did she with the broken glass also?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to hurt her.
Michelle, you need to think real hard and tell me who it is that did that. Tell me the person's name. Think real hard, okay? Don't go to sleep. Stay with me. Tell me who it is. You don't know? Did she break into the house? Does she live there?
It's her house.
It's her house, okay. So you're a renter there and she's the owner of the house?
No. I just wanted to attract as much as for charity clothes.
Michelle, can you tell me what's your last name?
Walker.
Walker? I know. Okay, everybody's headed your way, okay? You stay on the phone with me, okay, Michelle? You said your last name is Walker?
Listening to a mother in such grief shows just how heartbreaking these moments can be.
So the record will be clear. I'll try to ask you specific questions and you can answer them best. So you then went downstairs with,
I did, yes.
because she told you there were girl clothes?
Yeah.
Okay, did you ever see any girls clothes?
No, we went into this room to the left down the stairs, and I just remember there was like a game console and lots of shelving, and so she kind of looked like she was looking all through the shelving. And so eventually I just said, I actually don't really need anything. Thank you for sharing your house with me and giving me these. And I just turned around to walk towards the door.
So she never found any girls clothes?
No.
But she was like looking for something?
Yes.
Okay. And so then you started to leave and go back to the stairs?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what happened then?
Well, I was going up the stairs, and then as I was going up the stairs towards the door, she struck me from behind, right in my chest, and it's hard to describe exactly what it was. I mean, she hit me, and then it was sort of like, almost like pulling up my sweater, kind of scratching at me.
Oh, and Ms. Wilkins, by the way, what kind of sweater were you wearing that day? Remember?
I don't.
Okay, that's right. And what was she hitting you with? Could you tell?
Oh, she was with her hands.
Okay.
She didn't have anything in her hands. It was just her hands.
So after she hit you, what did you say?
Well, I mean, it was after she struck me. I mean, part of me wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I said, "Did I have a spider or a bug or, what was it?" And she said, "Oh, I think I got it." And then she did it again. And so I was really confused about what she was trying to do. And
and we'll try to go through this with specific questions. I know it's difficult, but let me try to be precise. So after she hit you a couple times in the spider, did you go back downstairs?
She pulled me around by my sweater. She grabbed my sweater and she swung me around, so I was facing the other direction.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then I kind of jerked myself away and I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, she said, threw her hands up as if in defense and said, "Well, why would you go into someone's house and do that to them?"
Okay, and what did you say in response to that?
I felt like I was, that this person is really unstable. And so I just held up my hands and I said, "I don't want to hurt you. I just want to leave."
And then what happened?
And then she started saying, "I don't trust you. You need to wait here while I call the cops." And during this time also, I slipped my cell phone because I didn't have a purse on me. I just slipped it into the bag because I felt like I didn't know where this was going. And so she's like grabbing me and trying to shove me towards the bathroom. And, I'm pushing against her and we're sort of wrestling, as I'm trying to get back towards the door.
Did she ever get you in the bathroom?
She didn't. She was pushing me really forcefully towards the bathroom, and I guess at the last minute she threw me into the side bedroom.
Okay.
And
so eventually she got you in this bedroom, right?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury what you remember about what happened next?
So she asked me, she kept threatening to call the cops. And so then I pulled out my cell phone at that moment and I said, "Well, I'll call the cops then." And she lunged for the phone and then she started hitting my face repeatedly with her fist and just wrestling me backwards throughout really the whole time she was trying to choke me.
Okay. And at some point did you pass out?
I did after she put the bottle over my head and me, and she was trying to choke me. I remember she I remember thinking of Aurora and feeling like I just thought of her and I felt like I wanted to survive also for her. And so I fought back harder, and I remember she got up, she was straddling me before and she went further up and actually pinned down my arms with her knees.
Can I approach you?
She pinned down my arms with her legs and actually used, I remember she was trying so hard to choke me, and then when she got closer, she just bore down with her whole weight on the heel of her hand over my windpipe, and I just remember everything going black.
Okay. Now, did you ever see the defendant with a knife?
I do.
Okay. After you went, everything went black. Tell the jury what you remember next.
So I woke up on the floor of the room, and I remember my first instinct was to get up, and I just felt this really intense pain in my stomach.
And Ms. Wilkins, do you know how long you had been passed out?
No.
All right, so you woke up, you're on the floor, you weren't on a bed. Okay.
And I tried to move, and I just felt this really intense pain in my stomach. And I looked down and, I just saw this really big cut across my stomach, and I pulled my pants for, high-waisted pregnancy pants. So I pulled them up, and I started looking around the room. Things started coming back about, how she had attacked me. So, I kind of started thinking, maybe she's still in the house. Should I go? I can't outrun her. If I'm in so much pain, I can't outrun her if I go through the front door. And there was a window, and I was kind of putting together an escape plan in my head. Should I climb out the window or make a run for it? And the first thing I thought I would do was just block the door. And so I just stood up, and my feet couldn't support me, so I just fell forward and on top of my hand. And when I did that, I just felt the blood seeping through my pants, and I could feel my intestines outside of my body.
Okay.
And so I could.
Is it fair to say you didn't think you could climb out the window?
Yes.
Okay. Did you try to shut the door?
I willed myself to stand and stumble towards the door. And, my vision felt really blurry, so I feel like, I closed the lock or put the lock, and when I turned around next to the bed were still both of our cell phones. I guess it was hers. I saw mine and another cell phone. And so I just stumbled back to the bed and laid down on my back and picked up my phone.
Okay, so you picked up your phone to call 911.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Dylann Catrice Lane, guilty of attempt to commit murder in the first degree. We further find, with respect to the verdict questions for this count, as follows. Jury verdict count number 2. In the first degree, throat area by means of hands, a knife, or cutting instrument. We, the jury, find the defendant, Dylann Catrice Lane, guilty of count number 2 in the first degree. Jury verdict count number 3, in the first degree, abdomen area by means of a knife or cutting instrument. We, the jury, find the defendant, Dylann Catrice Lane, guilty of count number 3 in the first degree. Jury verdict count number 4, in the second degree, head area by means of a bludgeon. We, the jury, find the defendant, Dylann Catrice Lane, guilty of count number 4, assault in the second degree. Jury verdict count number 5, in the second degree, throat area by means of hands. We, the jury, find the defendant, Dylann Catrice Lane, guilty of count number 5 in the second degree. Jury verdict count number 6, unlawful termination of a pregnancy in the first degree. We, the jury, find the defendant, Dylann Catrice Lane, guilty of unlawful termination of a pregnancy in the first degree. Counsel, would anyone like me to poll our jury?
Mr. Garnett, with respect to sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, go ahead. Okay. Can you spell D. Herrera? I'm sorry.
Yes, D-E capital A.
I did not learn until the trial just how many opportunities you had to do the right thing and then chose not to. You embraced your narcissistic fantasy to fulfill the lie you created, and it was more important than my right to live and Aurora's right to live. This is a picture of her.
I'm going to object at this point.
Thank you.
To look for other similar cases and to determine how does this...
But I fervently hope that you use the rest of your time on this earth with meditation and prayer to help you come to terms with what you have done. It is your only chance for healing the hurt that you have caused.
Your Honor, objection at this point. This is inappropriate.
Ms. Lane planned this attack and left Ms. Wilkins to bleed out and die. Ms. Lane is to be sentenced to a sentence the court finds, having considered the mitigating circumstances and the aggravating circumstances, that totals 100 years in the Department of Corrections, to be followed by the mandatory periods of parole.
Big thanks to our viewers for joining the courtroom journey with us. Your interest in the stories of justice is what keeps our channel alive.